Hey, Dan with Monmouth Millwork here. Today we're talking about arguably the hottest window on the market with a vertically integrated company. It's the H3 Casement by Sierra Pacific. Let's get started. So, Sierra Pacific H3 Casement. What makes it so special? What makes it so special is that it's a vertically integrated company that can really pivot on a dime when it comes to the options. And that's where it all starts. Specifically with the H3 Casement, it's their mid-grade window that offers a ton of options, an array of designs, an array of styles, and on the outside, that's where it begins. So 50 colors to choose from. There's textures, there's matte finishes, there's the blended collection. There's quite a bit to choose from that really allows you to personalize that window and make it yours. Part of the exterior review, what makes this so attractive is how minimal it is. 2.5 inches from the edge of frame to visible glass offers a wide open view to the inside and the outside. That narrow profile that's available on a mid-grade window is one of the most narrow options out there, giving you that look that everyone is crazy about right now. They have a nice look here with that beveled sash on the outside, just giving it a modern touch, a view that's going to work across the board. There's not a ton of steps and bells and whistles along with it. It's just a simple, clean view. It's a view that comes across and just allows that to marry perfect with the mitered sash, the frame, nice and simple looking. And with that, it's a perfect way to capture things like SDL bars. SDL bars are what's on this, that's called simulated divided light. Now this is 2 panes of glass, 2 full panes of glass. And these bars, these simulated divided light bars, are permanently applied to the interior and exterior with a high-grade 3M tape. There's an aesthetic bronze spacer bar in between, so it looks like individual panes of glass, right? But it's the 2 panes, so it's gonna be more energy efficient and it's gonna be more cost effective, and it's gonna allow you to do an array of profiles where if it was true divided light or authentic divided light, these would be individual panes. So really great options available with Sierra Pacific. Pretty much pick a pattern that you want to do and they can do that. When you look at the divided lights, this is a 5/8 putty. You could do a 7/8 putty, you could do a 1-inch putty, or if you wanted a different profile on there, they have a contemporary series for simulated divided light. They also have a traditional series for simulated divided light. A lot of times folks think H3 and they think it has to be modern. This works wonderfully on traditional homes. Here in New Jersey, we have, especially down the Jersey Shore where we are, we have quite a range of ultra-modern homes versus old Victorians, classic shore homes, and the H3 is really a versatile window from the exterior as well as the interior to give you the look that you need at a price point that is not really going to hurt your wallet. I think dollar for dollar, because they're vertically integrated from the seed all the way to delivery, Sierra Pacific controls all that, which allows you to get a spectacular window for a fabulous price point. So simulated divided light is one option. The other option, if you don't want to have to deal with cleaning individual panes, you can do grills in the glass. Now they'll do a flat profile. They'll also do a contoured profile. And same thing, pick the patterns you want, pick the design you want, you can play and make it your own. So you have a bunch of different finishes available, a bunch of different textures available. You have different divided light options depending on what works for you, budget, style, design. And they have a casing system on the outside. This does not have casing, but you can see this seam right here, this little groove here. If you want, they will do aluminum applied trim on the outside. Now that trim just snaps right in to the side of the frame and it allows you to have a finished trim around that window. And the benefit of that is it's coming from the same company, it's the same finish, it's gonna look the same over time, and that's really important when it comes to windows and color. You want to ensure that you have a great paint finish, and that great paint finish is where Sierra Pacific truly shines. Now that paint finish that's on there is either an AMA 2604 paint finish or an AMA 2605 paint finish. When we talk about that, why does that matter? paint finish matters, especially when it comes to colors on aluminum. The paint finish that's on this aluminum in that different range, a 2605 paint finish will afford you a 30-year paint finish warranty. Pretty much unheard of across the board. On top of that, because they can do those textures, it's because they do a powder coat. Historically, most wood window manufacturers, they're a little bit older, and with that, they have their system set in place. They do a liquid coat. Sierra Pacific, because they're a newer company, and when I say newer, they're not 120 years old. They're, they've been around for a while, but not, 120 some odd years. Their factories are a little bit newer, and because of that, they can do powder coat. Gives you textures, gives you different finishes available, and gives you a much better paint adherence on that finish. It's a much better finish. So this is a 100% fluoropolymer flake. AMA 2605 requires 70% fluoropolymer flake. They do a 100% fluoropolymer flake on the H3 casement when you do a 2605 finish. Unheard of in the industry. 30-year paint finish warranty. Pretty much unheard of in the industry. What a fantastic warranty backed by really a substantial window. So we've talked about the grill profiles, the SDL bars. We've talked about how narrow this is. We've talked about the beveled sash. We've talked about the paint, talked a bit about the exterior warranty that's on there. Now, what about glass? So when we talk about Energy Star and what's required, it's really going to depend on where you are in the country and what's needed for your project. But you can expect from a high to low range for performance. You can kind of check that out right there. They will meet pretty much everywhere in the United States. It'll just depend on what's required for your area. Where we are here at the Jersey Shore, it would be low E272, potentially low E366. And that is a low emissive coating that's on the inner pane of the exterior pane of glass. Surface 2, they call that. So that's in place. There's a ton of options available. If you wanted to do different patterned glass, that's available as well. They have a reeded glass, a sandblasted glass that they call satin etch, obscure, different frosted type glasses available for bathrooms, that kind of thing. But the H3 does not sacrifice on options the way a lot of the other companies that are in that tier would. There's not 4 or 5 colors available, there's 50 colors available. There's not one grill profile available. It's the same amount of options, it's the same breadth of options available throughout the entire company with the H3. You're not sacrificing on options by going with their mid-grade window. Now, with this, it really helps our channel when you subscribe. So if you find this information beneficial, if you could please subscribe, that helps us in turn. So pay it forward, give me a subscribe if you can. On this, the outside of the window, it really just captures a beautiful view. And it's important with windows that it's a beautiful view when you're pulling up to a house, because it really defines the look of a home, the windows. People don't give it as much credit as they should. The outside of a house, arguably 70% window. And on that 70% window, what is that gonna look like? A feature, a complement, and on the exterior, when you pull up something like a Sierra Pacific that has that extruded aluminum sash, extruded aluminum jamb, different colors, textures, divided light options, can really capture exactly what you're looking to do as a client and not break the bank. Is there gonna be something cheaper out there? There's always somebody that'll do it cheaper, but is there somebody that's gonna do it right for a fair price? These guys, H3 is a fantastic choice. So we talked about the outside. Let's go to the inside and talk about those options. What's on the outside? Aluminum. What's on the inside? Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what makes the H3 and why it's called H3. The H3 casement window stands for Hybrid 3 because it's made of 3 different components. The exterior extruded aluminum clad frame and sash. That's very important. The grade of aluminum and the gauge of aluminum is thicker than most other manufacturers out there. It is never a roll form aluminum, which if you see a window that is a roll form aluminum sash, run the other way. Bad idea. The interior, right? So aluminum, number 1 of the 3, right? The interior, pine, right, as standard, but bunch of species available. Wood interior, complete wood view. You could see right here on this. This one's pre-finished black, but it's a wood window. It's a wood interior window, right? Behind the scenes, there is this multi-chamber extruded vinyl mainframe. Now, this vinyl mainframe here is there for a few reasons. And the reasons that it's there, one is for structural integrity of the window. Two is for added performance. All of those little chambers are dead airspace. All those little chambers are going to add to the performance of the window. And three, it's gonna have this integrated nailing fin. That integrated nailing fin, this is the part that holds your window into the wall. It's built right into the frame of the window. Installers love this because it's rigid and strong, and it's really going to allow you to have a window that's going to be installed properly and not kind of move around. A lot of the other companies, they will do a super narrow, the thickness of that nailing fin is just not going to be there. These guys, the gauge of it is just really beefy and strong. Now, the window with H3 from the inside, you have multiple species available, so they're not limiting you on species. You could do alder, you could do oak, and that's red oak or white oak. You can do maple. There's a ton of options available. Now, why are all these options available? The reason why all these options are available with wood is because Sierra Pacific is the largest private landowner in the United States. They're a lumber company. They plant trees. What's cool about them, they have owl scientists on their staff. They have biologists on their staff because they're a lumber company. They plant trees, they manage the forests properly, and they do really what needs to be done to supply most wood window companies with their lumber. So if you have a wood window that you're looking at, chances are that wood came from Sierra Pacific. Really a cool thing, right? So their lumber allows them, again, with that vertical integration, everything's painted in-house, everything is grown in-house and milled in-house, allows them to offer an array of options at that aggressive price point. But it doesn't just stop at what you see with the wood, it's about what's in the wood. Most companies, they'll put a treatment on their wood and it's just gonna go through a dip, through a bath. They use osmosis with their coined term CoreGuard, and there's CoreGuard and CoreGuard Plus. Now, it is a food grade preservative on there, so no formaldehydes, nothing like that that's gonna be damaging or off-gassing into your home. A food grade preservative that literally, that wood, when I was out at the factory, you'd see it would go in, they would have this like pulse on it, and it would essentially all the way to the core inject that preservative into the wood. So meaning it's going to preserve that wood, it's going to keep it straight, it's going to also not have any issues regarding insects or termites, bees, all that stuff that you don't want when it comes to a window. That preservative in there is going to help with all of that, and it's food grade. So when we talk about toxins in your house and off-gassing in your house, not an issue with Sierra Pacific. The exterior finishes, the interior finishes, all food grade finishes, all food grade chemicals. So CoreGuard at the center of that. So we've talked about the outside. We've talked about the rigid mainframe behind the scenes. We've talked about the wood, but the wood, what's in it, the type of wood that it is, as well as the finishes. There are 3 different stains available, and there's also 10 factory finished paints. But here's another thing that's neat about this, is Sierra Pacific, again, because of what they do, allows them to really pivot. They're not limiting you on their mid-grade option. If you want a custom color, be that exterior or interior, they'll entertain that. If you say, hey, I want, Sherwin-Williams such and such, or Benjamin Moore such and such on the inside, they can help with accommodating that. And that's what they do. That's part of what makes them so special. Their finish on the inside isn't gonna have that orange peel effect that so many of the manufacturers have, where they're just spraying that window and it's done. The finish on the inside is a 7-step furniture grade finish that's put on that window. You're not going to see that variation that you normally see with the sprayers that come on some of the lesser window companies out there. It's really a beautiful finish that still showcases the grain of the wood with it, and I think it's really something to be said. And because of the way they do it, again, is there someone that's going to do it cheaper? There's always a guy that's there that'll do it cheaper, but they do it right, and they do it for a price point that really meets the mark. I'm just going to set this down here. When we talk about Sierra, we talk about how it's done and what they can offer. And it doesn't stop at the inside. They have that fold away crank handle. This one, we're drawing attention to it with a polished chrome. If you want black and you want it just to kind of fall away like the lock lever here, of course we can do that too. But they offer a ton of options and a ton of ways that you can personalize that. That's what it's all about. The grill bars on the inside, we talked about putty on the outside. This is a 5/8 traditional on the inside. We're just showcasing what can be done on this display. And that's part of what makes Sierra awesome. Now, this has no screen, right? Ton of options available. And one of those options that we think is really cool, does anybody like Shark Tank? I like Shark Tank. So Flex Screen. Flex Screen is now available with Sierra Pacific Windows and is part of their manufacturing process. Now a Flex Screen, you can see, basically you push on that screen and it allows that frame to just push in. So there's no bending the screen or breaking a screen or taking something out of square. It's meant to work with the window. It's meant to move with the movement that you place on it. There are different levels of mesh available, so depending on how important that is to you will depend on what selection is right for you. If you still want a wood veneer interior screen, they offer that. They also offer their standard aluminum screens as well. But Flex Screen is really something special and absolutely something to check out for sure. That's the standard with them at this point. It's the most common. It's kind of what everyone wants because you don't see the surround. It's just the simple mesh. And again, you have Clearview Mesh and you have Clearview Plus. Clearview Plus on a casement window is really a great idea because you're just going to see right through that mesh to the outside. So, different ways to trim the inside. They can do your basic 4 9/16 jamb, which would be standard for 2x4 construction. They'll do a 6 9/16 jamb for 2x6 construction. Now that extension jamb, they'll do as a standard extension jamb where you have your base frame and they add a jamb to it. Or what's really cool and a great way to save some money, they made a smart option where they'll do a 6 9/16 one-piece jamb. It's a great way to save a couple bucks. It's a great way to have just one view, no extra steps to that. Really great option. But if you need extension jamb other than those standards, they can do extension jambs to pretty much whatever you need within tolerances. So a lot of opportunity to make your project exactly what you want it to be with Sierra Pacific. This is a made-for-you product. It's a product that there's other companies out there that they have. Of course, most companies are going to have standard and custom sizes, but it's not like a boxed product. You're picking what you want and they're making that product for you. And that's really what's awesome about this company, is because not only are they making it for you, because they're vertically integrated, they're literally making every step of the process for you. So that kind of buttons up the interior. If you were to summarize where you would want to be if you were considering an H3 window, or what would make you consider an H3 window, it would be that person that's looking at that mid-range window or even a high-end home, you name it. Like, you can save some money on your windows and still get an outstanding window. But if you're looking at that mid-grade window or even up above that, this is a great application. This is a great application in light commercial. It's really a fabulous window. Part of that, if you're in a coastal environment, this window is hurricane rated out of the box. So out of the box, hurricane rated window. The only thing that would make it a true impact window would be changing the glass to their hurricane glass. But I mention that because it is a high performing window. So residential application, mixed use residential, light commercial, mid-range home, all the way up to your high-end home, really a great choice. If you're in the wood window market, aluminum clad market, or vinyl clad market, fiberglass wood market, this is a fantastic option to consider. If we can help you here at Monmouth Millwork, please let us know. We'd love to help you on this project if you're working on something. If you're looking at this window, we are the regional experts when it comes to Sierra Pacific windows here at Monmouth Millwork in Neptune, New Jersey. Until next time, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon and have a great day.